It's the last Wednesday of the month, and it was a rainy dawn as well. Hi, and welcome to today's edition of Joy News Interactive. My name is Jennifer Ikwamwa, and we've got a lot to talk about this morning. So why don't we get started? Go get your phones, your iPads, your tablets, whatever it is, get them charged and ready. You're watching Joy News Interactive on our platforms across the world on DSTV channel 421, on GoTV channel 142, and on the Joy News channel on Multi TV. Our social media platforms: WhatsApp 0560800000, and on Facebook and Twitter it's Joy News on TV, and the Twitter handle is at JN Interactive GH. Now, one of the biggest stories in the country right now is the current power struggle happening at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly. Now, as you know, or as you might not be aware, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly is currently without a mayor and a presiding member, and these two positions are the most powerful in that region. Now, yesterday's election to decide which would be the next presiding member of the assembly ended in chaos, with blows being exchanged. Now, you'll be seeing more updates on this story on all our bulletins across our platforms, on the Joy News channel, on Joy 99.7 FM, and our affiliates across the country. But we want to ask you on the streets of Accra, what do you make of what's happening in Kumasi?
What is going on, I'm not taking into consideration, is very bad, so I think the KMA should put on the proper measures, within selecting the presiding members. They should put the proper measurement to stop all this fighting and stuff, so one person resigning from it, not making them a full, members in the presiding, so they should put the proper measures to stop all this fight and stuff. Yes, it's not showing a good, thing they can be.
I don't think it's necessary, because it brings disputes and other stuffs in the party, so I think they should come together and select a leader. That's a good one, which will help the improvement and other stuff of the party.
I think appropriate measures need to be taken. When it comes to issues like this, it involves a lot. But I wouldn't have much to say, but I would think the board or the people responsible for this has to put in the right measures to be able to put things in place well.
So those were some of your views concerning what is happening at the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, the current power struggle happening over there. It's still a very live and trending story, so we will be getting more updates on what's happening over there in the Ashanti region. But let's check out what's happening on Facebook, what your comments are about this issue. Idrisu writing, I think it's about time the nation's security apparatus ups their game so as to prevent further or future occurrences. Matthew McCante says, I can't actually comprehend what is wrong with KMA members. They are joking with developments in the area and the lives of the people, and the earlier they think quicker, the better for the metropolis. And that is your opinion, Matthew. Keep on sending all your others on our Facebook page and on our WhatsApp platform. Benjamin adds, it's sad to see people fighting over their own interests than what will benefit the poor. Neil Lamte is also adding his opinion. If because of politics you will go and kill yourself, fine. Remember, you can't do that thing just because of Article 72. Prince Baumia adding, common presiding member and people are engaged in a serious scuffle. So what about the coming elections? We need peace, period. And Kwesi adds, this is the result of political interest. They should think about development of Kumasi and not their political colors. And Emmanuel adding, it's a disgraceful act by all standards. Keep on sending your comments to us via WhatsApp and Facebook on the power struggle happening at KMA at the moment. Isaac Forson is writing, the KMA members are thinking about their own personal interest. And okay, you didn't add your name, but you are writing that they need the men in green to be present and they will behave. If you could add your name, and who are the men in green? Are you referring to the military perhaps? Let us know on WhatsApp or on Facebook. And here is a question from Ora in Konongo adding, what is happening actually at KMA? Oh, my country, Ghana. You're still watching Joy News Interactive. We're talking about the biggest issues in the country and the world at the moment, and you can send us your views on that on Facebook and on WhatsApp. We're already talking about what's happening in Kumasi, the current power struggle, and the ensuing violence which occurred yesterday when they were doing the elections for the presiding member. It descended into blows. So our WhatsApp line 0560800000, and Facebook is Joy News on TV. Now, in other stories, you know, the GES is releasing the postings for BES graduates later. I mean, they've actually started doing this morning, and we're getting great feedback on that. But before we get into that and your expectations on that, let's talk about something that happens to almost all of us on social media. You know, all those pieces of advice that you get on how to take care of your car, or what ladies should do when they're in dangerous places, or the kind of foods to avoid, or even the chain letters or the prayer requests that say, okay, if you don't send this message to 21 people, you will be sick, or you will lose your job, or you lose your money. You know, it has one of those warnings attached. Well, this morning we were asking you, what do you do when you receive such letters or such advice via social media, particularly WhatsApp? Do you read it? Do you share it? Or do you delete it?
It's very difficult. Some of the messages, at first I used to, but then I realized that it's not so important, where they will tell you that you have to send it to about 5 people, even to the extent that they even threaten you that if you don't send this and this will happen to you. So since then I stopped. When the need be for me to send, I will do. But if it's not so important, I don't. Sometimes I delete it, at times too I don't. I leave it like that.
Well, sometimes I read it, sometimes I don't read it.
Why?
Because I'm not interested in those. I delete it.
You delete it?
Sometimes I forward them, sometimes they look a little bit scarier, and sometimes you look at them and you let it go, or you don't send it, you just put it on, then you forget. But sometimes it's something that will help people, so you just post it to other friends so that they will get to know what you are, you have read.
At times I do read them, at times I don't read. When I receive the message, you know, seeing the message, the first 2 lines will show me whether I should continue reading the message or not. If the first 2 lines is meaningful, that means everything there, I may get some sense in it, so I do read it. And if I read it and I think say other people might need the same message, I forward it. So if the thing is not meaningful, I delete them or ignore it. That's what I do.
It depends from the source, where I'm getting it from.
Okay.
I'll forward it if I'm supposed to do it.
Well, I start to read from the beginning, then I know, okay, it has a special information for me, then I read, I complete, and I forward. But if I see it's not going to help me, I just leave it there and then I go away.
So it seems it's evenly placed between ignoring, moving forward, or actually reading them and taking that advice. But Forsen here says, for me, I'm scared, so I usually ignore those messages. And another one here on the KMA controversy, Samson writing that, well, everyone knows that this is a highly political issue, so people should not read any unnecessary meanings into it. And another one from my dear friend in Konongo writing, I just delete some of the unnecessary messages, but the educative ones I do read, and that's on the advice coming in on social media, particularly on WhatsApp. You're still watching Joy News Interactive, but keep sending those messages in. We're taking a quick break and we'll be right back. You're still watching Joy News Interactive on a slightly overcast but still gorgeous Wednesday morning. Been taking some of your messages concerning what's happening in Kumasi, and also with those chain letters, or are they advice letters that sometimes you get via social media, either on WhatsApp or Facebook. They do have a lot of pieces of advice for your health and your safety and security, but some of them come with warnings. If you don't pass this on to 21 people, you will die, or you'll lose your parents, or you'll lose your job, or some sinister kind of warning added to it, or even worse, you will lose your blessing. And which Christian or Muslim wants to lose their blessing because of a message? Anyway, let me take some of your messages on this one right now on WhatsApp. Samuel adding, I do read such messages, but only when it's important. Gideon Kosa says, I read and I like if it's meaningful to me. And I do read some and I share when it seems to be important to others, but others I will not read at all. And that's from Akins Snappy. Wow. OP from Esikado writing, I do insult people who send me those messages. Oh, really? Isn't that a bit harsh? How can you tell me that if I don't forward it to people, something bad will happen to me? And here is Joe Mensa writing, as for me, I don't even read them. Shaibu, I don't only delete those messages. I also... Yeah, Shaibu, really do you really want me to add that one? Let's see what you're saying on Facebook. Neil Lamte writing, what I normally do is to delete the bad ones and maybe forward the good ones. But as for motivational messages, I share with my friends. One could therefore consider the modern innovation as a talent God has given to humanity. And on Judgment Day, God will use social media to show us how much time we wasted on earth. Our ability to be selective is crucial in our relationships with modern trends of interaction, depending on your usage. Well, a bit lengthy, but your message definitely struck home. Prince Nuruddin, some messages aren't necessary, so I do delete them. Also, some of them aren't pieces of advice, but only to mislead you. Gideon Eche, I really hate messages with conditions attached to it. It makes me angry. Matthew, right, sometimes I do forward the most important ones and ignore the rest. Anyway, there are a lot of pieces of advice in the social media. And Gideon comes back to add, I just ignore them. Well, social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, it's 0560800000 and Joy News on TV. Keep on sending us your views. We're talking about what's happening in Kumasi with the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, and we're asking whether you keep, share, or delete those messages of advice or warnings that you receive on social media platforms. But now onto something which is so huge and so momentous for all who have passed through the BECE system. Today, and in fact a couple of hours ago, GES released the postings for all the graduates, over 300,000 of them, to their senior high schools and technical institutions. So we're asking you this morning, as a graduate, as a parent or a guardian, as a teacher and as a friend, what are your expectations?
The placement to delay, and I don't know, we have been waiting. Recently we told they will be launching it within this week. So I mean, we wish we could have a good grade and get a better school to attend. Yeah.
I expect him or her to get good grades, first choice, the schools the person choose, the first choice school.
I want my sister to get a good school.
My expectation is that as they've written the BC and the results are out, my expectation is that they'll get a better grade and then the school they've chosen.
So you heard some students, some graduates from the BEC system, as well as a couple of friends as well, sharing their views and their expectations now that the GES has released the postings. Let's see what you're writing on Facebook about this momentous event in the history for all BEC graduates today. Gideon writing, looking at the poor performance, I hope our children get good schools and schools of their choice. Neil Lamte adding, the government and GES are doing their work, but we are asking the government, where is quality education? Matthew says, this is also another propaganda because we teachers are suffering and we need better conditions of service and not posting us without paying us. Okay, Matthew, we are talking about the BEC graduates, so maybe you could send your advice on that. Kofi Benoni says, as usual, it will come with some challenges. DK King, what time will it come? Well, they started around 8 a.m. this morning. They had a press conference this morning, DK, so we'll definitely hear more results on that throughout the day. Idrisu says, my expectation is that measures should be put in place to curb the shortcomings of the placement system. And Prince is completely not worried about the postings, but rather on living conditions. So those are the issues, the top trending issues this morning on Joy News Interactive. What's happening, the power struggle in Kumasi, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly, the election for the new presiding member descending into blows and chaos yesterday. And we're also checking in on the BEC graduates, their expectations, and even you as a parent, what are your expectations? And of course, the social media messages, the advice, the chain letters, and those with their own kind of sinister warnings at the end. What do you do with such messages? Do you share them? Do you keep them? Do you delete them? Let us know on 0560-800,000, and on Facebook and Twitter, it's Joy News on TV. Now, some messages coming in on WhatsApp. Ken is asking, and rather he's wondering why the KMA issue is still trending, and says it should really be criticized, and he thinks it's a sabotage. Okay, here's an interesting one. Happy Wednesday afternoon. It's 11:30 in the morning, so happy Wednesday morning to you too. Isaac adding, for this placement, I think they made it randomly because I heard it was cancelled at first, but we're just praying to God for help. Here's a question in, wondering when the BEC placement is coming. They had their press conference this morning, so we're getting more information on the postings, and we'll definitely hear more on it on the Joy News channel on all our platforms, on radio, TV, and online. Now, Ora adding, we pray that God will help our brothers and sisters to get their schools of choice, and that's for the BECE graduates. Aite writing on the social media messages, which come with their own, pieces of advice and warnings. He's saying, I really ignore them, but I tend to forward it. Babak Gatti says, well, I don't believe in those messages and the social media messages. If it's motivational, I do share with other group members and ignore those with conditions attached. Well, we can see that those with the conditions always tend to put people a bit on the defensive. Isaac Jr. writing, those messages are not based on biblical truths. For me, they are mostly disgusting. I delete them and I advise others to do same. Here's another one. The first two lines will decide whether I will forward it or delete it. If I read the first two lines and it's meaningful and important, I forward them to friends, and I delete them when I find them unnecessary. More messages coming in on the KMA issue. Here's Didon in Techiman saying, Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly issues will never cease unless there is a change in the candidates who are vying for the post of presiding member. So that's your take on the issue. Interesting. Regan Buama says, I don't do anything to those messages, to the chain letters, but rather I insult those who send them to me. Jesus is in me, so nothing will happen to me. So you don't even believe in those messages at all. They don't scare you or frighten you in the least. And another one on the school fee, on the BEC graduates. Here's OP adding, well, I'm actually more concerned about the school fees that we're about to pay than on the graduates. So keep on sending those messages. WhatsApp, Facebook, on all the issues we've been discussing this morning. But that's how we're ending Joy News Interactive. Thank you so much for your company. My name is Jennifer Kwamwa. But do stay on the Joy News channel for more great programs. Have a wonderful day.